All right, so what I want to do here is talk briefly about the prototype property. This is something we're going to use with constructor functions. We're going to talk more deeply about this topic later on in the course. For right now, I just want to give you a basic overview. So we've already seen that we can create a constructor function, and basically from that constructor function, we can make new instances, okay, or new objects more easily. Okay, so let's say we had a gym and we wanted to make an object for each gym member, and that object is going to contain pretty much the same thing for each person. Okay, so rather than going through and copying the same thing over and over and over again, we can build a new object for each person from this constructor function. So I can do something like function, let's say gym, something like this. And I'm just going to put the first for the first name. I'm going to put the last for the last name. And I'm going to put status, which is just going to be whether they're current on their membership or they're behind. Okay, so really simple. So we already know how to set this up. We have the this keyword. Okay, so this dot first name. So the new object, when it gets created, basically this empty guy, I'm going to have a property called first name. And I'm going to set the value equal to first, which is what we're passing in right there. Okay. And then down here, I'm going to go this dot last name is equal to last, and I'm going to go this dot status is equal to status. Okay, so that's pretty simple and something you should know how to do already. If I wanted to make a new instance of this guy, again, I would call the function with the new keyword. So I would do something like const, let's say member, I'll just do mem for member 1. And I'll set this equal to use the new keyword here because, again, that creates this empty object when it starts. It lets you use the this keyword. And then also it's going to implicitly return this guy so that it can be stored in this mem1. Okay, so the new keyword followed by gym, which is the name of our constructor function. Let's just pass in something like Jennifer. Let's do something like Roberts. So Roberts. And let's also do for the status something like current. Okay, so let's just see this real quick in the console. So we're just going to log this mem1 guy. So let's go ahead and run this and we get our new object, right? So we get the first name as Jennifer, the last name is Roberts, and the status is current. So that's as expected. Now, when you work with these guys, you know that you can create methods inside of the constructor function. So for example, I might want a method that gives me the person's full name. So let's go this dot full name, and let's set this equal to, it's just going to be a function. And basically all it's going to do is return a simple little string. So I'm going to go this dot first name. And then over here, I'm going to go this dot last name. Okay, so that's all we're doing. So if I come down here and let's say I call this guy, so mem1 dot full name is what we want with parentheses because we're calling a function. We clear this and we run this and you get Jennifer Roberts as expected. Now, let's put one more guy in here, and then I'm going to show you how to change this up. So I'm going to come down here and put another method. So I'm going to go this dot, let's call this showMessage. So this is just a message that people are going to receive maybe monthly or weekly or whatever it is. We're just going to return a little string. And actually I need an if statement here. So I want to do if. We're going to come up here and consider the person's status. So basically, are they current? I want to say, hi, basically you're current on your membership. If you're not current, I want to say, hi, hey, you're behind on your membership, just to remind people to pay, okay? So something like if we'll say this dot status triple equals to, I'm just going to use current. Well, for this person, we really don't need to tell them to pay the bill. So I'm just going to return a simple little string saying hello. I'm going to use my function above, this dot full name. Okay, so not first name, full name. And then I'm going to use parentheses there to call it. So that would give me that value there. That's the full name. Okay, so hello, the full name there. And then we'll say maybe a comma, you are current on your membership, like this. Okay, and that's all we want to do. And then else, in this case, basically the status was not set to current. So we can just return, I'm going to go hello, and then we'll do the same thing here. So this dot full name, okay, with parentheses, you are behind on your membership, please pay soon, something like that, okay? And you could put emojis in there if you want. I'm just going to skip that for right now. Let's come down here, and let's, instead of doing the full name, let's go show message. So show message like this. Let's pop this open and clear this, and let's run this. We get hello, Jennifer Roberts, you are current on your membership. If we change this to, let's say, behind, okay, and we clear this and run this now, we get hello, Jennifer Roberts, you are behind on your membership, please pay soon. Okay, and we can copy this real quick and make a few different people. Okay, so let's say this is going to be 2, and let's say this person is maybe like Jacobs. So I said Jacobs, but let's do Jacob, and let's do something like maybe Davis, and let's say he's current. So he is current. And then let's say we do something like, I don't know, maybe Jessica. So Jessica, and let's say her last name is Brown. So Brown, and let's say she's current. So she is current right now. And then let's say we have somebody like, I don't know, let's do Bob Smith or something. So let's do Bob, and then let's do something like Smith. So Smith, and let's say he's behind as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this, and actually I need to rename these variables. So this needs to be 3, and this needs to be 4. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this real quick. So we'll copy this and paste it a few times, and come down here, and I'm just gonna change this to 2, and change this to 3, and change this to 4, okay? So we'll pop this open, clear this, and run this. So you get the thing that you expect, right? So hello, Jennifer Roberts, you're behind on your membership, please pay soon. For Jacob Davis and Jessica Brown, they're current, so you get that message. And then for Bob Smith, again, he's behind, so he gets that message. Okay, so let's close this, and let's think about a little bit of a better way to do this. Now, in each case, if I console.log, let me kind of multi-line selector this guy. So let's come through here. If I clear this, I want to show you these guys. You're going to see that these methods have been copied to each instance of these new objects, right? So in the case of mem1, mem2, mem3, mem4, okay, all these guys have this method copied into them, okay, which is quite inefficient. So if we open this up and clear this and run this, you'll see that in each case, you have this function copied here, and then again, and then again, and then again. And you might think, well, that's not a big deal, but let's say you had hundreds and hundreds of lines of code in each function, and you had hundreds or even thousands of functions. If you're writing a really detailed application, you might get this, okay? So in order to avoid this, we can use something called the prototype property, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna basically take this function name here, which is Jim, okay? So I'm gonna go Jim.prototype, it's going to highlight for you, and then dot, you're basically going to set the name. So let's say we want to do full name. So I'm basically going to copy this from right here, get rid of this, and then I'm going to come down here, and then I can just put this in like this. Okay, so prototype, I should put a dot there. So Jim.prototype.fullName equals, you have this function here. So basically what happens is, now if we go through here and look at these guys, you're no longer going to have this full name on these objects. So let's pop this open and clear this, and let's run this. You see you still have the show message, but you do not have the full name guy. Now, if I come in here and let's say we call that guy, you're still going to have access to it because it's on the prototype. Okay, so we're going to put dot, and then we're going to say full name, okay, with parentheses, and we're going to clear this and run this, and you see it works just fine. Okay, so let's also do this with our other guy. So I'm just going to get rid of this. I'm going to copy it, hit that, and bring this down here. And I have an extra bracket there that I need to get rid of. So again, you're just going to type the name of this guy. So Jim.prototype, okay, dot, and then I'm going to paste this in. So I have dot, and you don't want the this. So you want dot show message, okay? And it's this function that we've already set up. So the reason it's lighting up on me is because I'm missing this bracket here to close things off. So right now this would work fine, right? If I went back through here and I go ahead and select all these guys, let's go through here and go the show message like this, pop this open and clear this and run this, you get the same thing as you got before. But again, if you go back and look at this guy, you're going to see that it's been cleared away from these objects. Okay, so it's not stored there. You can pop this open and clear this and run this, and you see now you just have the first name of Jennifer, the last name of Roberts, the status of behind, and you're not wasting all that memory copying the same method over and over and over again. Again, I know with these simple examples, it seems like what's the big deal, but if you had thousands and thousands of objects, let's say you had an actual gem membership and you had 200,000 members, right? And you had more than just these simple functions. Maybe you had to calculate a bunch of different stuff, okay? So you really want to keep that in mind when you're working with these things. It's also going to work differently when we talk about classes, okay? But we're going to save this for a discussion for later on. So for right now, let's just do one more example so we can kind of drive the point home. We're going to set up a constructor function that's going to give me an object that basically is descriptive for an item that I'm selling. Maybe I have a retail store or something and I have lots of items. So let's say I have something like function item. I'll do a description. So I'm just going to abbreviate that. I'll do a price and I'll do a tax. Okay, something like that. So let's just do this dot description is equal to this description here. And I'll do this dot price is equal to the price. And I'll do this dot tax is equal to the tax. Okay. So when I come down here, what I want is a little method, okay, that's going to give me maybe a little brief description of what's going on. So let's go item, okay, dot prototype, and I'm going to call this method, let's say calc bill. And again, I'm just making this up as I go along. You put anything you want in here. This is going to be a function, and basically what it's going to do is return a little string. So I'll do the price for, and then we're going to go this dot description. Okay, so let's say you were selling like a microphone or something. I would say the price for maybe the Shure microphone or the Blue Yeti microphone or whatever you want to put as the description is, we'll come in here and go this dot price. And actually, I probably need $2 there because I want an actual $sign. And then we can say something like the tax for this item is. Again, you run into issues if you don't round this. I'll just use some numbers that you don't need to round with. I'll talk about this later on in the course. Let's just go this dot price times this dot tax. Again, you could do math.round if you didn't want to end up with nasty decimals, but there's better ways to solve that problem, and I'll talk about that later on. And I'll put the total for this item with tax is, and then we'll just put the whole thing in there. So I need $2 Let's go ahead and do this dot price plus, or actually let's do times. We're going to do basically 1 plus this dot tax. Okay. So I'm going to wrap this in parentheses so that this is executed first. Remember that this dot tax, we're going to pass in as a decimal. So let's say it was 10%. You would do 1.1, okay, basically times the price, and that would give you your after-tax cost, okay? So let's put a period here. Again, we're just keeping this really, really simple. And I'm just going to come down here and make a few new ones. So let's say we go const item 1 is equal to, let's go new with item. So let's say we have a desk. Let's say it's $400. Let's say the tax rate is 10%. Let's do one more item. So let's go item 2. This is new item. Let's go ahead and say maybe it's a microphone. Okay. Let's say it's $300. Let's say the tax rate is 0.05%. Okay. So we already know what to expect here. If we come back up, we'll say the price for, and this should probably say the desk. So the price for the desk is $400. And then the tax for this item is, if you take the price times the tax rate, so 400 times 0.1 is 40. So the price for this, or the tax for this item is $40. The total for this item with taxes, you're basically going to have 400 times, or 400 plus basically $40. That's going to be the result of this. So you're going to have $440, right? Because 1 plus 0.1 is going to give you 1.1, right? If you multiply that by 400, you're going to get 440, okay, for $440. For this one, it's basically going to do the same thing, only your tax is now going to be $15 and the total price would be $315. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to console.log this item1 dot. I'm going to call this method the description, okay? And then I think that was actually not it. It was calc bill. So let's come back up here and go over here and go calc bill like this. And then I'm going to copy this one time and do this for 2. Let's pop this guy back open, clear this, and let's run this. So we get the price for the desk is $400. The tax for this item is $40. The total for this item with tax is $440. And of course you get this kind of long, nasty decimal. You can avoid these things by using the math.round, but again, I'll talk about how to get rid of this later on in the course. So then the price for the microphone is $300. The tax for this item is $15. And the total for this item with tax is $315.